Yo, what's up? What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, IFBB PRO and today what we're going to be talking about is how to create your own meal plan. All right. So if you know how to train, if you've been going to the gym and everything, the fact that you don't know how to make your own meal plan, then this is the episode for you. This is the episode that you need to pay attention to and honestly take notes so that you can create your own custom meal plan designed for your success. Okay. So when you join, let me know how your day is going. At the very end of this episode, as usual, I'll answer as many questions as possible before I run out. But during the recording for the podcast on the Meathead on the Mic, which is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, for those of you that don't know, again, I'm going to be recording for them. So there will be a brief period of time where I won't be responding to questions, but at the very end, I will try my best to get back to everybody. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just getting a good soundbite for those that are listening on the podcast, just the audio version on Meathead on the Mic it's actually on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All right. So let me know how your day is going. No man, what's good? Salam, I see you, bro. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have questions as I go along, definitely ask them because you don't know how many people you'll be helping once I do answer those questions. So with that said, with that out the way, we'll be diving into today's podcast episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yo, what's good? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your boy, the returning champion, IFBB PRO And today, what we are going to be talking about is how you can create your own custom meal plan designed for success in whatever it is that you wish to achieve in your fitness journey. All right. So if this is something that you've struggled with, if you don't know, how to create a meal plan for yourself in order to succeed, whether that's to cut fat, burn fat, drop water weight, get leaner, or to put on muscle tissue and get a little bit bigger if you're skinny, then this is the episode that you've got to pay attention to. And honestly, I recommend you bring a pad and a pen, or you just continuously repeat this as you create your own meal plan, because I'll be giving you some of the tips and tricks that I use for myself that helped me turn pro, actually. And, the tips and tricks that I use with my best clients to help them get results, whether it's for them to burn fat and build muscle or do both simultaneously. All right. So pay attention, stick around, stay tuned. This is what we're going to be talking about today. I know a lot of people struggle with this because I get a shit ton of DMs or questions in the gym, with people asking me, yo, how do I create a fucking meal plan? So that's what we're going to be doing today. All right. It's going to be short. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be straight to the point because honestly, it's not that confusing. All right. And again, this applies to you only if you are already going to the gym, if you are already somewhat consistent with, showing up to the gym, because without that, then this will work for you to an extent, but of course you've got to train to make everything, fully apply and, you get the full results from what I'm about to advise you with. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to creating your own custom meal plan, guys and girls, is the fact that you have to factor this baseline. Okay. I'm going to record this over here so that we can make a quick reel out of it in the near future. The number one thing you want to focus on when it comes to creating your own custom meal plan, of course, is calories in, calories out. It's not the only thing that's super important, but it's something that you've got to focus on. All right. Because this is the baseline. This is what controls where your body goes, whether you want to grow or whether you want to cut. Okay. So calories in, calories out. We all know that in order to lose weight, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. Okay. What is a calorie deficit? It simply means that you're eating less calories than your body needs to maintain its weight, which is going to, again, force your body to lose weight over time. Okay. And now when coupled with training and cardio, this accelerates the process and helps you burn fat, drop water weight, and also build muscle in the process. So the number one question most people have is, well, I know I've got to be in a calorie deficit, but how many calories do I need to be in a calorie deficit? And the answer is quite simple, but also a little bit complicated because calories vary per person. Not everybody is the same height. Not everybody is the same weight. Not everybody has the same goals or is capable of lifting the same things or doing the same things in the gym. Okay. And with that said, and with that factored in, you've got to understand that everybody's going to have their own different version of, how many calories that they're going to need in order to make their body change. All right. That's the first thing you've got to understand. Now, how do you calculate that? Again, there are several ways where you can do the math online, but if you are a beginner, if you are somebody that honestly doesn't even have the budget for a coach, what I would recommend for you is to go on Google, type in calorie counters or calorie calculators, and then put in your metrics, your height, your weight, your physical activity level, so on and so forth. And you'll get a rough estimate as to how many calories you're supposed to be eating. Is this the most accurate method? Fuck no. But is it better than nothing? Absolutely. So Google calorie counter or calorie calculator, and then pick one that you think is reputable enough, input your information, and then use that as a baseline. Don't marry that idea, but use it as a baseline. And what I mean by that is apply it, whatever a calorie deficit would be for your height, weight, physical activity level, et cetera, et cetera. And over time, as weeks go on and as you train and as you do your cardio, you'll notice when you look at the scale and when you look at the mirror, if it's having much of an effect on your overall physique at all. And then with that, you can tweak it, plus or minus 100, 200, 300 calories to accelerate or decelerate the rate of progression when it comes to your physique and your goals. Okay, so let's talk about the other thing, acceleration and deceleration. Why is this so important? Why does this even matter? The number one reason why this matters is because if you are moving too fast in the sense of losing weight and you're losing a lot of weight rapidly, you're going to lose a lot more muscle than you actually need to lose or than you want to lose even, right? Which means that, you're going to be weaker. Your metabolism is going to slow down because again, the more muscle you have on your physique, the more, we'll say, efficient your metabolism becomes because your caloric expenditure is higher, which means the calories that you burn is higher. Okay. And why is that? Well, it's simple. Muscle is more calorically expensive than fat, meaning the more muscle you have on your physique, the more calories you can burn just by sitting around, right? Which is honestly, we call it the BMR, basal metabolic rate. So long story short, if you want to increase or speed up your metabolism, what you want to do is put on more muscle, or at least focus on putting on more muscle, even if you're burning fat. Does that make sense? Okay, because the more muscle you have, the easier it is for your body to burn calories, hence drop fat and water weight. Are we clear? Does that make sense to you? Okay, so number one, find out how many calories you need to be in a deficit, and a slight deficit at that. Honestly, 100 to 300 calories under what is required for you to maintain your body weight, which we call the caloric maintenance. And then that should be a good ballpark to start playing around with as the weeks go on. And then you can tweak it up to hit your desired goals. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's one thing you got to focus on. Okay. Calories in, calories out. Second, the speed of it all. Because if you go too quickly, you are going to lose a fuck ton of muscle. And then in the end, it's not going to help you. Okay. And if you're one of those people that are rushing and you're getting ready for like a vacation or something, and you really want to lose as much fat as possible, what you want to understand is this: that's not a good thing to do. Crash dieting, losing more than 20 pounds in a month, honestly, unless you're morbidly obese, which honestly, if you're morbidly obese, lose as much as fast as you can, because again, you're morbidly obese, like it's seriously unhealthy. But if you are in a, if you're just chubby a little bit and you got to burn some fat, don't focus on getting rid of it as fast as possible and crash dieting and, starving yourself, because not only will that translate to weaker workouts, but those weaker workouts will have less of a return on putting on more muscle tissue on your body, which in turn will slow down your metabolism as you get lighter, making it harder to maintain that new achieved body weight. Even if you lost 30 pounds, it's going to be impossible for you to stay 30 pounds lighter, because you actually lost muscle in the process, and you lost that edge of having a higher BMR, basal metabolic rate, which we just talked about. And that's going to translate to you not being able to keep the weight off. Okay, even if you do eat the same low amount of calories. So what I would recommend is focusing, or at least remembering, the fact that speed is a variable that you should not really prioritize, but be aware of. Okay, in the sense of, you don't want to be losing more than 2.5 pounds of body weight per week. That would be like the extreme line, unless you're morbidly obese. When I say morbidly obese, I'm talking about, you know what that is. I'm not going to describe them. Let's just say my 600-pound life, right? You want to be able to be in control enough and have just enough calories where you don't exceed 2.5 pounds of weight loss per month. So an average of 10 pounds per month that you lose is the max that I would recommend, is the max that I would, say that would keep you healthy. And honestly, is the max that you could probably lose without starving yourself. Okay, so that's super fucking important. Again, guys and girls, this is a very short and sweet episode because you don't need a lot of information. You just need application and consistency, especially if you're already going to the gym and doing cardio. Again, doing cardio is going to increase your caloric expenditure, just as having a high BMR will, and that will also aid in you being able to burn more fat while also still, being able to eat enough to not starve. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, now the last thing, guys and girls, that I want to talk about when it comes to creating your own custom meal plan is protein. And I know everybody here, if you've been following me or listening to the Meathead on the Mic podcast for a while, you've heard me say it a billion times. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a rule of thumb that you should be applying if you seriously want to build muscle, burn fat, not only just burn the fat, but keep it off. Okay. And so what that looks like is like you're basically eating so if you're 150 pounds, you're eating 150 grams of protein. If you're 190 pounds, you're eating 190 grams of protein every single day. And then your carbs and fats are secondary and tertiary to the primary, which is your protein. Okay. And now carbs and fats, how many carbs and fats should you be eating per day? Again, that's super case specific. Honestly, you can just go on Google it, and you'll find several different calculations for approximate ratios as to how many carbs and fats you should have in comparison to the protein. But I'll always recommend that you prioritize your caloric intake and your protein intake over the carbs and fats. Okay, because those are secondary and tertiary. You can pretty much flip them any way you like, and you'll still get the better half of the results if you apply what I just said with the caloric deficit and the protein 1 gram per pound of body weight. And that works for cutting and putting on muscle. And when I say putting on muscle, I'm not talking about bulking. I'm not talking about putting on a fuck ton of weight in such a short period of time and doing all this dirty bulking shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about incrementally increasing your body weight, because just as losing weight too fast is bad for you, gaining weight too fast is bad for you as well. It throws off your hormones just as losing weight too fast would do. And it does so many other things, like put on an unnecessary amount of fat and water. And like this applies to you whether you're natural or whether you're on steroids. But the unappealing part of it all is that it's just going to take a fuck ton of time. It's just going to take so much time for you to see those changes and to make that progress, simply because you're not going to be gaining 5 pounds a week. You should be focusing on gaining no more than 1 to 2 pounds a week if you want to put on lean muscle. But if you want to burn fat, the fastest I would ever recommend for myself and even clients is to only go at the rate of 2.5 pounds per week maximum. Okay, that's it. It's very clear. It's not rocket science. And again, of course, you're going to have a lot of trial and error in the process, but I want you to focus on the fact that it's not as complicated as you think. You just need application. When I say application, like that you actually stick to it and that you do it, and you need consistency and discipline so that you stay doing it over the course of the time that it takes you to get to your goal, whether it's to put on muscle, whether it's to burn fat, whether it's to do both. And at the very end, you will have a body that not only you're more proud of because of the physique and your weight, but also it'll function a lot more optimally because you have a better metabolism. Your hormones are better regulated, right? And the food selection even for your meal plan will be better for you, assuming that you know what food selections even are, or like what you should even focus on when it comes to selecting foods, which, long story short, just pick fucking healthy food that you know how to cook and that you can season well. All right. And when it comes to seasonings, don't pick seasonings that got a fuck ton of calories. Use herbal spices and all those things that have 0 calories or 0 calorie liquid seasonings, so that you don't, say, fill up the amount of calories that you could potentially be having throughout your day. All right. So what that looks like is like, instead of having like 150 calorie sauces like barbecue sauce, get the 0 calorie option so that you can use that 150 calories on like a couple of Rice Krispies for carbs pre-workout or intra-workout. That'll help you, again, with the blood sugar, push a little bit more and give you that extra energy to, push and fight against that weight to develop as much muscle as possible, because you shouldn't be training, easily. You should be training as hard as you possibly can, as consistently as possible, while mixing in cardio. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Again, guys and girls, it's not rocket science. And if it's rocket science to you, and with this information, you still can't figure it out, that's why we have resources like coaches. Okay. But if you don't have money and you have a little bit of willpower and a lot of heart, then you can apply this episode and still get results. And if you do, and you say, hey, Matt, I listened to episode number 182 and I got these results and I just want to thank you, you're more than welcome. Shoot me a message. Okay. Shoot me a message. Let me know that this worked for you. Let me know that this helped you out. And I'll just share it with other people, because you don't know the power of it, man. It's not as hard as you think. Okay. But the thing is that I'll say that's quite important is that nothing is really like just straightforward and linear. Like you'll have points and times where you're, even though you're applying the correct calories for yourself, once you figure that out and, your body is sort of assimilated to that, you're going to hit plateaus, whether it's in strength, whether it's in, the image, the way your physique looks, you're going to hit plateaus, with just so many other things. And with that, you're going to sort of reverse engineer, see what's working, see what's not, and then tweak it so that it does work. And like, we're not even talking about supplements here. Just the basics, just nutrition. Okay. So focus on that and you should be good to go. Your next 10 pounds is on me. With this episode, you should be able to continue to lose weight. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. But if you struggle with it, I'm here. I'm an IFBB Pro. I turn pro naturally. Reach out to me, shoot me a DM, and I'll see wherever I can help you out. All right. That's it. That's all. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it out with a friend. Let me know this experience. All right. That's all chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB Pro Matt Butale signing out. Boom. All right, folks. That's it. That's all. That's today's episode. How to create your own custom meal plan. Again, not rocket science. You don't need to know everything in the book. You don't need to, have a fucking degree for this. Like, just listen to what I just said, apply it, come back to me in a couple of months and say thank you, because it's gonna fucking work if you do it right. Okay. Tony cuts his W, man. So what's up? Oh, no man says, how is Ramadan going, bro? We're chilling, bro. Grateful to be here. Says, have a good one, bro. Gonna watch 100% on YouTube after it's released. Need to get cooking. There we go. He's meal prepping. I love it, bro. Thanks for tuning in. But honestly, thank you even more for applying what I'm saying, because information without implementation is just fucking noise. So I like that, bro. I really do like the fact that you're laying it out there and you're trying your best as we are going through the live stream. It's pretty sweet. So TikTok, we got some stuff here. And honestly, on TikTok, I'm just gonna let you know here, like, if you are talking about crazy shit or like you're not on the subject, I will not respond to you. Lisa says, how do you lose more calories without working out as much? I'm gonna actually record this. I think this is a really fucking important question. All right. So Lisa says, how do you lose more calories without working out as much? So I guess you mean burn more calories, right? The number one thing I'd recommend for you if you want to burn more calories without working out as much is increasing your caloric expenditure. What does that even mean? How do you increase your caloric expenditure? It's actually more simple than you think. All you've got to do is add more volume or add more, we'll say, sweat equity, or essentially make your workouts more difficult or a little bit longer so that you burn more calories. And how do you do that? Well, if you want to make your workouts more difficult, you want to spend more time under tension when you're lifting, meaning slower reps, more controlled reps. You maybe want to add some more weight, right? And start lifting heavier, apply progressive resistance, or, all of these methods that you can use. You can use a lot of methods, different methods, and apply them to make your workouts more difficult, or even elongate your workouts, add a couple more movements in so you can sweat more, burn more calories, right? And then that's going to take more out of the calories that you're eating, right? So you can eat the same amount of calories. And if you're training the way you're training now versus training harder, you will be able to see more results while you're training harder, eating the same food, simply because you're burning more calories. And also, if you're focusing on putting on muscle, as I was talking about earlier, then your BMR will increase. Your BMR is your basal metabolic rate, which is just your metabolism. So if you add more muscle, your metabolism will speed up. And if you are focusing on adding more muscle, aka making your workouts harder, you're burning more calories in that process. So that's a double whammy. And now to throw the third on it, to throw the cherry on top, you do cardio, which is another method of caloric expenditure, right? So just burn more calories, and you can even eat the same, but focus on getting 1 gram per pound of body weight so you don't lose muscle in the process. Is that clear, Lisa? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I hope it did. All right. So BN Breezy says, I'm exercising twice a day and cannot control my hunger. LOL. So if you're exercising twice a day and you can't control your hunger, eat more. Okay. I'm also gonna record this too, because I think that's important. If you are training like a fucking animal, if you're training like a dog and you're exercising twice a day and you cannot control your hunger, simply eat more, because you created enough of a pocket for yourself to even be that hungry, given that you might be in a calorie deficit, or even if you're not, you're burning enough calories for you to feel hungrier. So you can eat a little bit more. That doesn't mean eat a freaking house or leave a bite mark on your fridge door, but it does mean that you have a little bit of room to eat a little bit more, so you're a little less hungry in the process of burning fat. Okay. But again, calories in, calories out. That's the number one rule that I'm going to tell you guys to focus on outside of getting 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. All right. That is going to help you. I'm not even going to tell you, oh, you come back to me when this, like, listen to that and it's going to fucking help you. All right. Appreciate that there. Good question. Good question. So, OMG, she says, Matthias is hi. Hey, what's good? Being Breezy says, OMG, that's so hard to get so much protein in. I'm also going to record this one too. You guys have good questions today. So, what I'm saying, what I've got to say to that is, if you're focusing on, we'll say, if you struggle with getting protein in your diet, I'm going to just give you a couple of options that are super, we'll say easy to consume, but higher, that are high in protein. So one is Greek yogurt. Think of it, you don't even have to chew it. It's just yogurt, right? And it's really packed with protein, so you can get that in. White fish is really, high in protein, easy to eat. You barely got to chew it. It's super flaky and it goes down quickly. And the reason why I'm giving you these food options is because they're not really heavy. They're not like chicken where you got to chew that motherfucker, or beef where you got to have a, it's heavy. Like, you don't want to focus on eating foods that are heavy if you struggle with eating and if you're not a big eater. So focus on getting protein sources that are lighter, like that are closer to liquid form, or that you have to chew less, and it's going to feel like it's a lot less in your stomach. Okay. And so that's white fishes, that's Greek yogurt, that's protein powder in the form of a liquid, right? Protein bars, like think of it, a little chocolate bar, right? Everybody can eat a chocolate bar. So, look at other food selections when it comes to creating your own meal plan and factor those foods in so that you can actually, eat them without feeling like you want to fucking vomit, right? So that's one thing that I'd recommend to you. And I know that it'll help you out once you start applying it. All right. Let's see here. All right, so we ain't got no more questions. I appreciate y'all. That is it. That is all. If you guys enjoy this episode, share it out with a friend or just leave a comment. Honestly, I appreciate the fuck out of y'all. Peace, love, and protein. IFBB Pro Matt Butale is signing out.